You're listening to Big World Network.
Subprimeval, Season 3, Episode 12, Freefall, written by Robert S.C. Cutler, read by Fentress O. Moore. Gator hit redial over and over, cursing at Freakshow for not answering his phone. When Freakshow finally answered, he was less than congenial. Jesus, what do you want? Freakshow, Agent Shore, this must be Gator, because only my sister calls me Freakshow anymore. What do you need, little cop? Asked Freakshow. Have you spoken to my wife lately? Yeah, just about 3 hours ago. She had me sign off on some final paperwork. She said something strange is going on there, and I need you to check on her for me, said Gator. I don't mean to be short with you, but I really don't have the time. We've got a lot of work ahead of us getting the last batch boxed up and ready to go. And unless I'm mistaken, you have a long haul yourself to get ready to deliver all this stuff. Gator took a deep breath to calm his nerves. Claire said all of the staff was being rounded up and placed on transports, and they were, yeah, I know. We're all bugging out of here and heading somewhere east. Riley sent out a memo just this morning. I knew that part a week ago, Gator said. The part you don't know is that you are all wearing identical white jumpsuits with red sleeves. Actually, I do know because they just delivered ours within the last hour. The memo says we are to change into the jumpsuits and turn in the clothes we are wearing to be incinerated as a precaution against possible microbial cross-contamination. Feeling he wasn't being listened to, Gator's patience started to wear thin. You are being lied to. I need you to check on Claire for me now, and whatever you do, don't let anyone else put on those clothes. Calm down, Gator. It's not that big of a deal. We're all going to be fine. It's just business as usual in the world of Riley. Freakshow laughed. The back of Gator's neck and his ears became flushed with blood as he lost control of his temper and yelled through the receiver. First of all, my name is Clem, not Gator. And second, I was given strict instructions to make sure every single man, woman, and child who were wearing white jumpsuits with red sleeves were given those shots. The very same that you, my wife, and probably your sister were given to wear. Sounds like you were given bad information, friend, Freakshow scoffed. We developed this serum with the knowledge they were to use only a select few people to help jumpstart the killing of the creatures. Nobody innocent will be harmed. Only inmates in prison for rape or murder will be given a dose. Then why did Riley give me an order to oversee the delivery of each and every box to the refugee camps in Texas and Colorado? He told me it was an antibiotic to help stop the spread of a new superbug. Freakshow paused as what Gator had been saying finally sunk in. He knew Gator was incapable of telling such a lie, and that Riley was capable of anything. Shit! Freakshow yelled through the phone, hurting Gator's ear. Find a way to sneak across the tarmac without getting shot, and meet us at the far end of the airstrip near the control tower. I'll get Claire. I just hope they haven't taken my sister yet. What do we do then? We can't just run. They'll find us for sure, said Gator. Don't worry. I'm calling in a favor to an old friend. A convoy of buses packed full of refugees wearing yellow jumpsuits pulled out of the Austin Provisional Compound, heading south toward Victoria, Texas. Waiting for those bewildered and exhausted people was temporary Tent City and a Texas National Guard unit acting as a buffer against the angry residents of Victoria. Construction of new homes and condominiums had been put on hold after several suspicious fires burnt entire blocks to the ground. Still behind the barbed wire fencing, the refugees wearing white jumpsuits with red sleeves waited anxiously for their turn to leave. Quarantined for testing positive for the new superbug, they were promised a cure was on its way, and in 2 days' time, all of their worries would be far behind them. Major Wallace limped through the compound with his hands over his mouth. How many, Sergeant? Close to 90,000, sir, Sergeant Solis said. His jet-black hair cut high and tight glistened in the midday sun. Approximately 1 million when you add up the other camps. Plus the 500 or so at the Grissom facility, Wallace said. They must have been working night and day to turn out that many doses. We've got an army of medical personnel at each camp to administer the shots. After all the refugees are attended to, the staff will inject each other. They're not all getting the shots, are they? Asked Wallace. Of course not. We can't afford to sacrifice everyone. Riley stood in the front of a large hangar at an airfield just outside of Colorado Springs. The relentless wind raked across his weathered face, but barely moved his plastered-in-place hair. As the C-17 taxied in, he couldn't hide his imperious grin. "Tell the pilot to have somebody wake Davis up," Riley told the flight line supervisor. "That fool should have called me by now." Talking with the pilot through a headset, the supervisor blurted out, "Are you sure? Well, have them check again." "Are we missing something, Sergeant?" asked Riley. "Not a something, someone. I was just informed that Davis did make the flight." Riley's face turned red with anger. "Did he get on another transport by mistake?" "No, sir. There are no signs of him anywhere." Riley unclipped his phone and called the head of security detail in Grissom. "This is Riley. We seem to have misplaced Clem Davis. Is that fool wandering around there by chance?" "Negative. We've done a complete sweep of the facility for stray personnel, but he might be with the group that went rogue about an hour ago. We have them cornered at the airfield tower." Riley gritted his teeth and flared his nostril. "Why wasn't I informed of this? I'm to be kept in the loop about every single detail of this mission." "Sorry, sir. It's just a small group of civilians and staff members," the security officer groveled. "We'll have them captured in no time." "Forget capturing them. Just make damn sure each and every last one of them is dead. Any of you happen to find Clem Davis, terminate his employment as well. He's outlasted his usefulness." Freak Show, Gator, and Dr. LaCroix took turns firing out the control tower's main entrance at the increasing number of security forces. Claire, Cassie, and Trina were huddled beneath the metal spiral stairs while Basili and Chalmers tended to a wounded air traffic controller at the second-level platform. "Is he going to live?" Freak Show yelled. "No, he's bleeding out," Basili answered back. "Shit! We need him to get into the control room," Freak Show complained. "Captain Jones is never going to know where we are." "What did you drop your phone for?" asked Gator. "Gee, I don't know. Maybe because I was being shot at?" Freak Show mocked. "I don't know what you're so concerned about," said LaCroix. "Jones is bound to know we're the ones everybody is trying to kill." "You know, she does have a point," Gator said. Freak Show glared over at Gator. "Well, he better hurry or there won't be anyone left to pick up." Trina's head rested on Cassie's lap. Her temperature was hovering just above 103, and her complexion had become pale. Her eyes were mere slits, her breath was shallow, and her heart rate low. "She's so sick," Claire said. "We really need to get her out of here." "Do you think she's contagious?" asked Cassie. "I'm afraid it might hurt my baby." "Whatever illness this girl has is the least of our worries," Claire said. "We'll be lucky to survive the next 5 minutes the way they're shooting up this tower." Dr. Chalmers and Basili hastily made their way back down to the main level and behind the stairs with the girls. Chalmers tried in vain to wipe the traffic controller's blood off of her hands and onto her pants. Basili didn't even bother. He just stared at his red-stained hands and sighed. "Next patient, please." Basili shook his head and laughed. Being used to his strange personality, Chalmers ignored Basili and directed her attention toward Trina. "She's been given the serum. There's no doubt in my mind. Were either of you given a shot, like for the flu?" she asked Cassie and Claire. Claire shook her head. "They never touched me. My brother rescued me before they could," Cassie said. "Is Trina going to be okay?" Chalmers looked away with tears in her sullen green eyes. "I'm afraid there is no cure. She most likely will expire within the next 48 hours. All you can do is keep her comfortable." "Score another one for our team," Basili blurted out. "Oh, and don't get too close. She might be contagious." "Leo, you're scaring these poor girls," Chalmers scolded. "You know that isn't true." "Do we really know for sure, Ava? We were so hurried through the testing process that we may have created the next pandemic." Riley watched from the safety of the passenger seat of a Humvee, the processional of shots being administered. Within 24 hours, over 100,000 refugees would pass through 25 lines, snaking their way through the medical tent and into an arena-sized warehouse. From there, they were to be herded onto one of many C-17 military cargo aircraft, where they would be told their illness had been cured and a new life was awaiting. This same exercise would be repeated at 9 more camps in Texas and Colorado. "Major Wallace, this is Riley," Riley said, pressing the sleek black phone against his ear. "Clem Davis appears to be AWOL, so I'm modifying the schedule. Our precious cargo will be landing at the Waco site within the hour. From there, you will be overseeing the delivery to the remaining 8 camps." "What about Operation Cattle Drive?" asked Wallace. Have my new Rising Star Sergeant Solis take over for you. He seems more than capable. Roger that. Shame about Davis. He was a likable little guy. If he shows up, take care of him as planned, Riley said. I was originally going to stick him in with the crowd, Wallace said. I don't give a damn if you give him a shot or a bullet. Just make sure there are no loose ends, Riley yelled. Wallace took the phone away from his ear and was about to say something back, but paused to make damn sure Riley had hung up first. He didn't want to end up wearing a white jumpsuit himself. Captain Jones landed the Black Hawk as close to the control tower as he safely could, while 2 soldiers on board laid down suppressive fire, pushing back the less adequately trained security forces. Come on, he yelled while pointing at his watch. Time to go, Agent Shore. You and Claire go first, and make it quick, Freakshow told Gator. You do know you're talking to a pregnant woman and a man with 1 foot, Gator nervously laughed. I don't know if I can do it. I'm having really strong contractions, Claire cried. Dr. LaCroix put a reassuring hand on Claire's shoulder. Cassie and I will be right behind you. Just don't look back. Cassie looked at LaCroix with tears in her eyes. We can't leave Trina here to die. LaCroix nodded. Dr. Basili and Dr. Chalmers are following us to the helicopter with your friend. We're going to do everything we can to save her. Okay, everyone out the door, Freakshow said as he gently pushed the first 4 out of the tower and toward the Black Hawk. These cocky bastards are starting to fire back. Let's get a move on already, Jones ordered. That means you guys, Freakshow shouted at Basili and Chalmers. Leo Basili appeared out from under the stairs with Trina draped across his shoulders and Chalmers at his side. His face was pale and sweaty, and the veins in his forearms were blue and bulging. What's wrong with him? Asked Freakshow. The same as me, Chalmers said. We are both very sick. With caring arms, Freakshow took Trina from Basili and laid the passed-out girl over his right shoulder. When we get outside, don't stop until you are in the helicopter. Understand? Both Basili and Chalmers nodded and then followed Freakshow out the door. 10 yards from the Black Hawk, what sounded like mosquitoes suddenly filled the air as bullets zipped past him. Freakshow felt as if his face had caught fire when a painful burning sting struck his cheek. The same intense pain ripped through his thigh and left shoulder, making him stumble the last couple of feet and drop Trina on the ground. I got her, buddy, Gator announced, picking Trina off the ground and into the helicopter. Freakshow picked himself up bleeding and crawled in. Looking back to see where Basili and Chalmers were, he spied their lifeless bodies lying face down in the dirt, their hair mercilessly whipped by the rotor blades' generated wind. Packed shoulder to shoulder inside the cargo holding of the big C-17, approximately 900 refugees, sick, dirty, and all wearing the same white jumpsuits with red sleeves, wondered where they were and where they were going. Scott Jackson, detained in the Colorado Springs Provisional Compound's makeshift jail since the night his wife was killed, held his teenage son Grant close to him. Even though Grant was delirious from a high fever, Scott reminisced out loud about the life they'd once had with Grant's mother. He told his son everything was going to be okay and that he shouldn't worry. Somehow they would get back to Kansas, get back to Wichita, where all their family and friends would be to welcome them home with open arms. A collective gasp rang out when the seal of the massive back cargo door was broken and the cargo hold was depressurized. No longer able to speak, Scott kissed Grant on the forehead and mouthed the words, "I love you." As the aircraft climbed at a steep rate, he lost his grip on his son and became airborne, floating above the cargo floor and then flying on his own with the blue sky above and the flat central plains below. A sense of calm overtook him. The whine of the twin jet engines was replaced with the hollow sound of the wind rushing by his ears and the ripple and snap of his cotton jumpsuit. High above the Midwest, from Dallas to the Twin Cities, squadrons of C-17s blanketed the skies with over 1 million white-clad refugees, while ravenous demons waited anxiously below for what was going to be their last meal. Bullseye, Riley celebrated. I just love it when a well-executed plan falls in place. It's not a complete success yet, Major Wallace said. Instead of an infestation, we now have a biological nightmare on our hands. Always the doubter, Major. This is an astronomical victory for the United States. The vast oil fields hidden beneath the Central Plain will keep us in the export business for decades to come. OPEC doesn't stand a rat's ass chance in hell of of surviving after we fix the prices to suit us. What about the refugees in the eastern camps? They're bound to try and go back home at some point. Try they will, but you can't come back to something that doesn't exist. When Riley saw the message flash up on the screen of his smartphone, his face lost all expression. He motioned for Sergeant Solis to bring the car around and calmly spoke. They've arrived, Major. We have our first meeting tonight with the president and a select committee of friends. So they do exist, Wallace said. Yes, a brave new world awaits us, Major. Riley grinned. Oh, and bring a parka. You're going to need it. Is that baby still coming, Mama? Captain Jones asked Claire. False labor, thank God, Claire replied. Where are we going? Freak Show asked Jones while Dr. LaCroix attended to his bullet wounds. We're changing planes in West Virginia so we can drop off Dr. LaCroix and her patient, and then it's off to Northern Europe, Jones answered. We don't want to be anywhere near the States with what's coming next. That doesn't sound promising, Freak Show laughed. When are we supposed to catch a break? You're lucky they didn't hit any vital organs, LaCroix lectured. There's your break. What about you? Riley's bound to hunt you down, Freak Show asked LaCroix. Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself, LaCroix smiled. Nestled in the back of the Black Hawk, Gator held his wife close, thankful they wouldn't have to deliver their first child thousands of feet in the air. He glanced at Cassie, worrying over her unconscious friend, then out the window beside him at the landscape below. Ecstatic, his in-laws were becoming farther away by the minute. Knowing Claire was going to miss them terribly, Gator had a moment of stinging guilt and pulled her in a little closer. Unable to hide his elation, he flashed a toothy grin as he thought to himself, Northern Europe doesn't sound so bad. Not bad at all.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.
You're listening to Big World Network.